But I will say what did factor into my decision to come to Boston is it feels good to me to go to a place now where, you know what, it's easy to hate the Yankees, right? It's easy to go out and have that rivalry and go in it with full force, full steam ahead. I like the challenge. I appreciate the challenge. I accept the challenge. But this time around, it's just go out and be yourself. Don't try to be anything other than yourself. And if people don't like it, it is what it is. I am who I am, and I'm okay with that.
What better way to jump into the mix? You guys know what day it is. It's Wednesday, which means Lou Merloni joins us to continue to download his insight. Lou, we got to start with Sonny, because what else would you want to hear from a new Red Sox other than hate the Yankees and accept the challenge?
Yeah, a few times he talked about that, just being himself and not wanting to change. And we heard some stories about some teammates with him in New York and how the Yankees kind of wanted him to be something different and pitch usage, and it just didn't go well, right? I don't think he liked his experience there because it's been a big topic. Can he handle the big market? Look what he did in New York. And I'll say this, that was the first time he was traded. And it was the first time I was traded to San Diego. You go to a new team after being in an organization forever, and you try to be something different, right? It's sort of like, okay, I got to show them that I can do this, I can do that. And I think the Yankees played a role in that as well. So I just think when he looks back, he didn't like his experience there. So now he's in a spot where obviously it's a rival. So I think he's going to enjoy it.
I just think he spoke with the media for about 30 minutes, and it was, as far as like Zoom intro press conferences go, that was about as good as you could ask for. I mean, he came off as incredibly confident in his abilities, but not arrogant about it. Clearly, obviously, hungry to chase a ring. He has a previous relationship, spending an offseason working out with Garrett Crochet. Steven Matz, a former teammate with the Cardinals, talking up his experience in Boston. Again, the anti-Yankees thing. It's just, he was really hitting on all cylinders when it came to just this first meeting with Red Sox media. What was your big takeaway?
Yeah, that he is that. He's confident. He's confident in who he is. I love the line sort of like, I can spin it better than anybody in the game, and that's a fact. Like he was, it's funny because locally the discussion is like, he's not a number two. And I bet you if you asked him, he would agree because he feels like he's a number one. I think that's just the way he looks at himself, and he has accomplished a lot. He has pitched, at that level. So it's ultimately, as we know, he can go out and say all the right things right now. Like, fans in Boston will like him if he throws the ball well. Yep. If he doesn't throw the ball well, they won't. So ultimately, it's just going to come down to April, May, June, and July, and just sort of see where he is halfway through.
Hey, Lou, I believe I'm Denzel Washington, but guess the hell what? I ain't. So he can believe he's a one all he wants. We got a big old Viking war pig that's number one. Go ahead, Kasey. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had to let Lou know where I was coming.
But to put that comparison in the mix, Lou, this question feels like it's going to lose a lot of steam. I was just going to go with what's it like to have the confidence of a one, but I will say this. Since getting to Boston myself, I've just heard raving reviews about this pitching staff and just how they see things differently and kind of pull a different potential out of pitchers and players as a whole. Do you feel like this pitching staff can help Sonny take that next step or lean into the confidence that he has to go toe-to-toe at one?
Yeah, first off, you're bringing in a veteran I think will help everybody else, too. It's sort of like, Buehler didn't perform well and Giolito did, but there was two veteran guys that helped the young guys. They even helped a guy like Garrett Crochet. As good as he is, he's still a young starter. So the key to me is still going to be like, as he pointed out numerous times, I'm willing to adapt. It's a game. You have to adapt, but I still have to stay true to who I am, the core, as far as who he is, spinning the baseball, attacking hitters, not walking guys. So this is something that if he comes into spring training, this pitching development program is very good, and they've gotten a lot out of guys. However, there can be a sense of, all right, listen, let's get rid of this pitch. Let's introduce you to this pitch. Let's throw the cut. The good news is he does like to spin it, which is what the Red Sox like to do as well. So hopefully they just sort of work with him, let him be himself, and introduce a few little tweaks here and there, because given his experience in New York, I don't think you want to bring this guy in and change him much. It didn't go well that last time.
I remember talking to you at the trade deadline about Dylan Cease, and I know you like the player. I thought of you when I saw he signed for all the money in the world with the Blue Jays, and I said, doggone it, man, because that's a guy not only I thought the Sox should pursue, but also, maybe more importantly, I wanted his arse to stay in the National League or maybe go to any other division but this one. Sure enough, the Blue Jays, credit to them. I mean, Lou, they're going for it, man. They got close. They had the champs on the ropes. They're like, we got to re-up and go back to this thing. I know the Red Sox always have pressure to spend money in the offseason. That's not what I'm asking here.
Yeah.
I'm asking more specifically, with the Blue Jays getting Cease and putting a word out on the street, we're going back. We're trying to get back to the World Series. We're not walking backwards here. We're trying to move up. Do you think it adds pressure now to the Sox this offseason to spend the damn money and get the people in here who can help them get over the hump?
Yeah, hopefully you don't need the Blue Jays, right, to kind of put pressure on yourself to spend some money and get better. The Blue Jays are a problem. They will be the highest spending team in the American League. They've been trying to spend money for a while. No one's been taking it. Now, this little run to the World Series obviously is going to help them out, and they're going to continue to try to spend money. You know, Dylan Cease, he had a bad year last year when it comes to ERA. I know we saw him one time. He looked like a dominant starter when he threw against the Boston Red Sox. And people can sit there and say 7 years, $210 million is crazy. Well, next April, May, June, July, you name it, whatever, pick a month. No one's going to care how much he's making. All they're going to care is that he's nasty.
That's right.
You know, I always say that, like, people always worry about the money that they don't spend. But this guy is one of the best pitchers in the game. I don't care what his ERA was last year. So it makes the Blue Jays better. They will continue to spend. Nobody will, I don't think, will spend like them in the American League. So this is a problem. And they're not done. And we'll see what bats they get as well.
Something we talked about the other day on the show, though, Lou, with respect to spending, is that the Red Sox, Spotrac had the Red Sox at 12th in Major League Baseball in total spending last year in terms of team payroll. 6 of the 11 teams in front of them were a playoff team. I say that so that it illustrates it. It's not a guarantee that you spend, you make the playoffs. That being said, you know, you go back, I don't know, not quite a decade, but 2019-ish and many of the years prior. Basically, annually, the Red Sox, if not number one in spending, they were certainly top 5. And that was when they were having a lot of their success versus some of these bottoming out years that have happened in seasons since. You know, there has been a correlation in Boston. Do you expect the spending to approach top 5 again, or are they still watching that real closely?
I think you're outside the top 5. I think the game has changed. You know, 18 and 19, you were number 1. Those years were different. Yeah. For 10 years, for the first 10 years this ownership bought this team, you know, 02 to whatever it was, 12, 11, they were number 2 in payroll. And people said, let's get back to that. The problem with that, when you look at the numbers, they were number 2. And on average, they were around 120 million. They were number 2 to the Yankees, who were number 1 at 200. That's not close. The difference is nobody else was playing the game. The difference is that San Diego wasn't spending money, Toronto wasn't spending money, Houston wasn't spending money, Philly wasn't spending money. Like, you can go up and down. The New York Mets were broke. So there was still probably like a $70 million gap in payroll between them and the Yankees when they were number 2. That's just the facts. You have to go back and look. People want to go back to those days. Well, the Yankees are still outspending you by $70 million. The difference is that everyone else is getting involved. The Dodgers. I mean, it's getting crazy. So are you going to be in the top 5? You're going to have a $300 million payroll to be in the top 5, and I don't see that happening. So I'd like to see them just get to the 270 range, right? The 275 range, you know, whatever it is. I don't know how much money they're going to spend. But between Steve Cohen, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Phillies, I mean, it's just – I don't see them being in the top 5. But I do expect them to go over thresholds, and I do expect them to be, you know, in that 6 to 8 range at least. And we'll see where it goes.
Under the umbrella of spending money, we had an interesting conversation here yesterday in regards to someone asking us, say Bregman gets locked in, but Alonso and Schwarber come off the table. What's the next appealing approach here? Because a lot of conversation is now revolving around Polanco out of Seattle. Is there any indication that there's still a worthy big bat out there that can get into the mix while reserving a leader that deserves to remain in the clubhouse?
A lot of this comes down to financial, I think, is where they go. Is there a trade for a younger bat, need for need type of thing? I hear Polanco's name as well. I'm trying to figure out what the interest is. I like him offensively. I know he's a switch hitter. I like what he can do offensively. But this Seattle team at the deadline had to trade for a whole new infield because they didn't have one. They didn't have anybody that could play third base. They didn't have anybody that could play second base. They didn't have anybody that can play first base. Meanwhile, Jorge Polanco's on the team. Why don't they just use him? Right. And the reason he DH'd all year long is because he's a minus defender. They didn't want to put him on the field. So where are you going to put him on the field? I guess maybe first base, but are we thinking that this supplemental bat and Jorge Polanco is a DH? Because that's what he did for Seattle last year. So, again, like, you go look at who they played at second base and third base all year long before the deadline. They were defensive guys hitting 200. Meanwhile, Polanco's sitting right there, and they still didn't use him. So I think that tells you a lot. Can he swing it? Sure. But I guess if you're in need for maybe first base, DH, because things don't go the way you think, maybe he's in play. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see where that one ends up.
Either damn way.
Call Lou. This is why we call Lou.
Yeah, but we love Lou.
Yeah.
But Lou knows this. It doesn't matter. He's a role player. I mean, you can't say, well, we didn't get Alonso, we didn't get Schwarber. I know. Let's get Jorge Polanco. No one's ever said that. He ain't no damn difference maker like that. He's a good piece on a team that's close, or if you bring back Bregman, you add someone here. Yeah, sure, get him. But he ain't the answer. I
think I put Polanco almost in like a JT Realmuto rumor range, right? Like if things go south and we're trying to add some bats, can JT sort of be a catcher well, is he willing to play first base? I don't know. Is he willing to DH at times? I don't know. But if we're out on Schwarber, if we're out on Alonso, if we're out on Bregman, now we start talking Polanco and JT. And I just feel like that's not what you're thinking going into the season. You got to keep options open.
Exactly.
But it's not plan A through D.
Yeah, Lou, it's like, look, I spend a lot of time at bars, okay? When you go to the bar, Lou, there's top shelf, right? That's Alonso. That's Schwarber. That's Scooble if he becomes available. All these names. That's fantasy baseball, right? And then there's, you know what I mean, a step down. That's a bar I'm at. That's a level. I want that row right there that I can afford. I'm balling on the budget, Lou. But listen, let me get back on track.
The other thing, too, by the way, that lower level booze, all that does is give you a worse hangover the next day.
I know. So, Lou, let me ask you this. Kasey's so smooth because she mentioned Bregman, and she said leadership, your leader in Bregman. She's absolutely right. We love Alex Bregman here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. But one thing I've noticed, Lou, we get a lot of calls and a lot of tweets of people that are like, let him walk. He ain't worth the money. He can't stay healthy. He ain't this, he ain't that. They call him everything but a child of God, Lou. I'm asking you. I look at it as you have got to bring this guy back. Why do you think there's hate on Alex Bregman from a certain subset of this fan base? Do you understand it? Because I don't.
Well, those same people, I think, that don't want him back will be the first people to bitch that the Red Sox don't sign anybody when they let him leave.
Right.
So they just want to stay miserable. I think part of it, to me, to be honest with you, is like I know the injury happened. I've said all year long, I have great respect for Alex Bregman, and I was expecting big things for him. He went well beyond what I thought he could bring to a baseball team in terms of leadership. And I'm a firm believer that this team needs more grown-ups. They need more veterans. And we're talking about people who are free agent eligibility. Like they're eligible for free agency, not arbitration guys or pre-arbitration guys. Young lineups, I don't think, go very far. I think you need the veterans. You need the Schwarbers. You need the Bregmans. You need leaders on a team. When you have a very young, talented group, you need your Giolitos and your Sonny Grays to go with a young staff or whatever it may be. So to me, this is like everyone keeps saying, you just want to give the guy $150 million because he's an extra coach and a leader. No, because I like defense. I like contact. I like 20 to 25 home run guys. If I could put a team together with those three qualities, I'm going to win a lot of games. If I start putting bad defensive players in here who swing and miss a lot, you're going to be the first people to bitch about bad defense and strikeouts.
Yep.
So let's change it. And moving him is not a good idea. Keeping him is what you're looking for.
So, Lou, as evidenced, one of the reasons that we love talking to you, one of the reasons that people love hearing from you, you don't carry water. You give it to us straight. You tell us what you're thinking. Don't sugarcoat it. I said something the other day on the show that we want to play for you
Lord have mercy.
because I want your opinion. I want you to say you're crazy, or I absolutely agree with you, Adam, and by the way, you're really handsome. Let's hear it.
Oh, God.
I want to be abundantly clear about that.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Can I take it over here?
Oh, I'm
Thank you. I want to be abundantly clear
Lord
about
have
this.
mercy.
If the Red Sox offseason is signing Sonny Gray,
Oh, boy.
re-signing Alex Bregman, and getting Roman Anthony healthy, you have had a train wreck of an offseason.
Train wreck?
Not enough. Yes.
That's not a train wreck.
Train wreck. You didn't improve. You didn't improve. If that's your offseason, you didn't improve. You got yourselves right back to level.
I don't know if look, I don't think it's enough.
Good.
I wouldn't call it a train wreck.
Let's ask Lou. On
he'd
Wednesday.
call it a train wreck.
Let's ask Lou on Wednesday. Can we cut that and we'll
Yeah,
play
we
it
should
for
cut
Lou?
it.
Let's play it for Lou and see if he agrees or
That's a good
disagrees.
call.
I bet he's going to agree.
Actually, can I jump in here and say what needs to improve is one less button, Adam? I was choking just watching you.
Down? Okay.
That brother
Good.
couldn't breathe.
I was like, ahem. Sorry, Lou. For you.
I was going to say, okay, first off, in order for me to put it in the train wreck category, Bregman's not back here. You know, and we're trying to fix this some other way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like Sonny Gray for 2026. As we said before, I wish it was younger. I wish it was somebody that I felt like was going to be here for 3 or 4 or 5 years with Garrett Crochet. But I like him for 2026. I'm with you as far as, like, you can't just replace everybody, right? Like, Sonny Gray replaced a very good year from Lucas Giolito. Bregman's going to replace what? Himself? Like, you're not adding. It's time to add. We can't just keep replacing. So, you know, I want Bregman plus. You know, if they don't, will it be a train wreck? I think if you don't bring back Bregman and you just sort of rely on young kids, then I think it would be.
Absolutely. Well, I think we all here agree with you. We would love Bregman. Plus, you guys know where to find Lou Merloni every week. That's on Wednesday, right here with us on Boston Den of the Chat. As usual, Lou, thank you so much for taking the time for coming and hanging out with us.